Welcome back, everyone, once again to a special beginning of October spooky season episode. Finally, on Screenplay Rewind, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Ron, coming to Jeff live from a CB radio.
Yeah, we fucked up. We tried to record a week in advance for this show,
and
even sat down at 8:30. Yep, we were ready to go at 8:30 last night on Saturday evening, and we ran into this really obnoxious Discord glitch to where you said like I turned into like an AOL dial-up sound at some point, and Ron's voice is like staticky and crackly. We've done some local testing recordings to make sure it's not present actually in the recording, so hopefully everything works out just fine with the actual upload. But
yeah,
it is
Jeff and I record our own audio and then put that together, so the call quality shouldn't affect the show, just our ability to hear and understand each other during this conversational podcast we have.
I mean, fortunately the podcast is shit anyway, so we can only polish it so much.
Right. I don't know, Mythbusters polished up them turds pretty good, man. You could brush your teeth in them. I did you'll hear your own audio in Discord. It sounds like I'm coming to Jeff from the International Space Station, and that there is a coronal mass ejection from the sun that is interfering with it some. Like,
what's really dumb is like I was telling Ron, our online friend Soapy is someone I play like Apex and Rocket League with pretty often.
Oh, they'll know him from Friends and Family Month.
Oh yeah, that's true. So
frequent
him and I had an issue for like a week and a half or 2 weeks a couple months back, to where something was glitched in Discord to where every like 10 minutes or so one of us would sound like we were screaming in a wind tunnel at the other person. It was so bad. And we tried everything we possibly could. We changed all the settings. We looked it up on Twitter, on Reddit, everywhere. Troubleshooted the fuck out of this. Could never fix it. And then one day it was just gone. So now it's like the fucking It Follows curse. And Discord is just randomly fucked up for like a pair of people at a time. I don't understand.
Welcome back to another episode of Screenplay Rewind. Coming to you live from the NASA fucking wind tunnel. Yeah.
I just need to have like a Bane filter. We'll just start talking like Bane into the mic. It'll probably make for better content.
You really adopted the podcast. I was born in it.
You really adopted the Discord filters.
Oh fuck. God.
Well, okay, as I mentioned earlier, this is a special recording for me because October is my favorite time of the year. Halloween is the only holiday I give a flying fuck about. I think most holidays are bullshit, and Halloween is like the one perfect holiday where it's just about having fun, whether you're a kid or an adult. There's no pressure to buy people shit, which is like what 90% of the holidays have become. Which when you're a kid, it's like, hell yeah, I'm getting presents on Christmas. This is awesome. When you're an adult and you have obligations to buy people shit, it's the worst, and I hate it. Thanksgiving, I don't want to fucking talk to my family. I don't want to talk about fucking politics and shit. I just want to like vibe by myself, watch a fucking horror movie, go to a party if you want to, dress up if you want, just whatever. I love how chill Halloween is. I always have, always will. It's my favorite. So
yeah, I always loved Halloween, season. But then getting to do it with my kids and walking around the neighborhood trick or treating and stuff, it's been pretty cool. Showing them spooky movies that they are age appropriate for, like Coraline and stuff. Yep, absolutely. Hereditary.
What'd they think of the Blood Eagle in Midsummer? Did they enjoy that part?
That is something I wish I did not know existed.
Once you do, you never go back.
That movie is eerie and creepy, but overall kind of tame until that. It's like, what the fuck?
We got to get Midsummer on the show at some point. I'll eventually have all of the Ari Aster's stuff, and probably Hereditary again, just because I need an excuse. I'm so fucked up in the brain. I watch Hereditary for fun, so that tells you all you need to know about me.
Yeah, it's time for me to start busting out The Thing and Alien, and there's a new Alien movie I still haven't watched, so maybe busting that out.
We tried. Nobody could go to the fucking theater.
No one would
at the
ever
same
invite me to go see it.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. We're gonna be driving to Alien Romulus, and there's just gonna be a fucking thing in the middle of the road. We're gonna reenact Hereditary on the way to Alien Romulus. Oh my god. So your kids though, are your kids like super into Halloween? Have they been enjoying it?
It's hard. It's hard to tell with them on a lot of things because they don't get into stuff. It's really kind of crazy. They get into stuff for short bursts and they're done with it. But
that's how I was as a kid.
Yeah, see, that's not me. I get into something and I'm fucking in it hard. Giggity and all of that. But it I don't know, they seem to like it. For me it was all about the trick-or-treating and the costumes, and then we did stuff at school and you got to wear your costume to school, and
yeah,
it was about all of that. For them it's just about like how much candy can they get, which that was the after effect of Halloween for me. There was never a candy shortage in my house is probably why, but you can tell by looking at me. Yeah, I don't know. They get into it somewhat, and then they're kind of done with it. For me, it's a month-long thing. The only thing I get tired of is oh god, there's only so many times I can listen to the soundtrack of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah,
they play that on repeat over and over and over.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas. I like it. And every time I watch it, I appreciate it more because I forget like that it's pretty fucking good movie. But it's not one of those that like the people that love that movie, it's their favorite movie of all time, and they have like tattoos of Zero and shit.
Right.
And that I've never understood is like that crazy level of people fucking love that movie and that book. But I like it quite a bit, and I think the music is pretty good. Like What's This is always one that I have really liked.
Yeah, I like This Is Halloween, and I like Oogie Boogie's song pretty good.
Yeah, the Oogie Boogie one's very good. Especially like within the movie too, the
You're joking. You're joking. I can't believe my ears.
The imagery they have like as the backdrop for it is really cool.
Yeah, the casino related stuff. Yeah,
I love it.
It's really good. Oogie Boogie's great to begin with.
Yeah, great design too. Because he's like creepy but also like lovable at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Haley is not a Coraline fan. Spooks the ever-loving shit out of her.
I only ever watched it once. Do you like it? I remember thinking it was okay, but I didn't like go crazy for it.
Man, that was almost my pick this year. I remember really liking it in theaters because I believe that was one of them I screened. Then watched it when it came out, and then I hadn't watched it in years. And then as soon as I realized the kids were like watching A Nightmare Before Christmas, I was like, oh, fuck, I forgot about Coraline. I bust out Coraline, and it is a really good movie still. Chris doesn't like it.
That's good.
Haley...
Well, Chris doesn't like anything.
I know. Chris, fucking tell me about it. Haley, everything scares her. Like, she cannot handle anything that is slightly moody, even. Nathan really likes it. Chris tries to convince me it's a bad movie all the time, anytime it comes up. And I definitively won, because this year they re-released it in 3D. They did a remaster of it, re-released it in theaters. And she told me that was ridiculous because it's a shit movie. And I think it was like number 2 behind Deadpool and Wolverine for a while. It brought in like another like $9 million or something.
Oh, really?
And it's like opening weekend. And I was just like, ha ha ha.
My opinion is correct now.
I have evidence to back up.
I have the high ground now.
Right. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to watch it again because I remember thinking it was okay, but I haven't watched it in a very long time, and I forget. Is that the same like production studio as Nightmare Before Christmas or not?
I do not remember. I've never done any homework on that movie outside of the cast. Terry Hatcher's the villain, and she is incredibly creepy.
I like the imagery of it with the like the button eyes and everything for the other versions or whatever. It's really cool.
It's really good.
That's like a subtle thing that's like, it's creepy, but it's more of like an unsettling than it is just like straight up scary. So it still works for kids, because it's just like a subtle, like little nuanced touch to it.
Yeah,
The design.
It's scary for younger kids, I think, and I think for adults, it's just kind of creepy and unsettling.
Mhm.
It does a really good. So, there's kids movies and there's family movies, right? There's jokes for the adults, jokes for the kids. Then there's jokes that are in between that everybody gets, and really well written movies can straddle that line really well. There's not a lot of horror movies for kids, and when there is, it's like Monster House or something, right?
Mhm.
Which I don't think is as bad as some people say
I
it
actually
is.
I actually kind of like that. We watched it a couple years ago.
But
I actually kind of liked it.
it is,
The animation is not great. I
yeah,
wish the animation style was different, but
but it is
as far
definitely
as the
aimed
movie
at
and the plot,
kids.
like I actually liked it.
Yeah, but it is definitely aimed at kids. It's not creepy. It's not unsettling. It's not scary.
Yeah, it's not elevated to
Yeah.
work for everybody.
I think Coraline straddles that line really, really well. And I think the animation style in it, being kind of like a claymation stop motion thing, helps that because it's really easy to. That's already an animation style that your brain says that ain't right. Right? Like even watching Gumby
Yeah.
because it's kind of jagged. I mean, Coraline looks good, don't get me wrong, but that the nature of that type of animation style is kind of herky jerky movements that are real subtle. They're real subtly jerky. Your brain looks at it and says that ain't right anytime you look at stop animation or claymation, and it's really easy to make something look unsettling that is not intended to be unsettling. So I think the animation style in Coraline goes a long way to straddling that line because it can be creepy and weird and Burton-esque, and all it's doing is being stop motion. Like it's not even really doing anything super scary. But Terry Hatcher's character, when it finally reveals what she looks like, is fucking creepy as hell, and I love it.
What also elevates it for adults is when you realize how much work goes into that type of animation. You appreciate it on that level, just like an artistic value, where it's like the amount of time and effort it takes to make that shit is
Mhm.
absurd.
It's also a really good kind of coming of age story. It's got like a really good message that I really like. So
Yeah, we should have it on the show sometime.
yeah, it was almost my
Give me
pick
a
this year, and then I realized the movie I'm picking, it's 4 years too late. We should have done this movie a long time ago. So
yeah. That's like everything we cover.
I
They're almost
know.
always too late.
There's a reason why we hadn't covered it yet on the podcast. I'll get to at the end of the show.
Okay, cool. Well, we will be covering a horror movie today called Infested. But before we get to our movie review portion, do you want to run through our comments and questions and everything?
Go. Uh, I just realized I didn't check Spotify, but on YouTube, the ever enigmatic Bobby, and I actually have context this time, so he's not as enigmatic.
The man, the myth, the intern.
Right? The man, the myth, the intern. The first one is Ron Tingles for Hiddleston. This is on Crimson Peak.
Yeah, I mean, don't we all?
Don't we all? That's
Don't we
that's
all?
literally what I was gonna say.
Like he doesn't. You know how like in the Avengers, everyone needs to be brainwashed by the staff with the Infinity Stone. Like that's not necessary. Like I'm pretty sure Tom Hiddleston can just get people to do shit because he's Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, what's funny is that's exactly what he was doing in the Avengers. Yeah. Yeah, no, Hiddleston is Hiddleston, and I can't help it if I'm a Hiddleston fan, like stan. So, no, definitely tingling for Hiddleston.
Are you a Hiddlestan?
I'm a Hiddlestan. Then, in response to his own question, on Oddity, he had asked, "What is a horror concept you'd like to see in a movie?" On Crimson Peak, he said, "Okay, horror concept is a mad scientist turns a man into a dinosaur."
My brain just automatically goes to that fucking GIF.
And
then almost, it's not quite forgiven. Almost everything is forgiven just because of that GIF.
What's missing?
Glorious.
What's missing is him dialing the phone number, because that's incredible too. Because nothing lines up.
I hate that movie so much. I hate everything about it except for that moment. Like that's just perfection. That fucking GIF. We were talking about Tammy and the T-Rex. If anyone had
Tawny and the T-Rex
hadn't picked up on the reference.
Yeah.
I forgot it had a different fucking title in the credits thing. Yeah. Now I hate it even more.
He picks up the phone, but when he puts it to his head, he puts it like where his human ear would be, and like the receiver's nowhere near his mouth or anything. And the arms are not long enough or in the right area to be doing this. It's so good. Oh god, I love it so much. I need to see if Mystery Science Theater or oh god, the three that spun off. Cinematic Titanic, was that then? No, Riff Tracks.
Yeah, Riff Tracks.
They did Cinematic Titanic, and then I think they quit that and started Riff Tracks.
Was the title too soon?
I guess so. I need to see if either one of them. Surely
somebody had to. It's Tammy and the fucking T-Rex, dude.
Yeah, surely Riff Tracks did, because they've done more modern stuff. Yeah.
When the dude gets mauled by the fucking mountain lion.
And then nothing.
And he's just fine.
It's just totally fine.
Did he even take the time to like
put
a little
bandage on it?
No fucking bandages that would have cost him what, like $1.80 at fucking Walgreens to buy a little package of Band-Aids. Bed. Dude's just immaculate.
It's so stupid. We have nothing on Spotify.
Okay.
So that is all of our comments. That's all of our clickbait.
We didn't have anything I can quote, tweet, and make fun of on our page or anything?
Unfortunately, no. It's all the same stuff.
Fuck.
Just requipping and karma and huge penises. And clickbait.
Man.
Which I think huge penis you is clickbait on its own. But.
Yeah. You'd think. All right. But first, if you ever have any prompts or questions for Ron and myself, you can always email us at screenplayrewind@gmail.com or drop the comment or question in the YouTube comment section. And as you've seen in the last few episodes, we will read off anything, and if it's called for, we will make fun of you. So just keep that in mind. Because if it's a two-way street, if you're gonna make fun of us,
yep,
we're gonna make fun of you.
Absolutely,
it's gonna happen. Fuck this and fuck you too.
And fuck karma.
Dot. We got to make that a t-shirt. The karma ... or a hat would be such good merch.
We needed the Law and Order logo, but it's Screenplay Rewind, and then at the bottom it just says ...
That's too good. All right, Ron, you want to talk about some Infested?
I sure do.
You sure do not?
I sure do.
You sure do. Okay, I gotta preface this. How much of an arachnophobe are you? Because I think that is a huge like point of delineation on whether this is going to be like scary for the person watching it or not.
So I don't like spiders, but not enough to even flippantly say that I'm an arachnophobe. I don't like spiders, but the spiders in this movie were not spiders. So like there was just to be clear, there's nothing scary in this movie that happens at all.
There's a couple moments where it's like it's creepy. I will just say I was heavily disappointed in this movie.
It was a horror comedy, and I appreciated it for that. I was laughing the whole way through, and I had a good time with it. But it is not a scary movie, and the spiders are not spiders, which I appreciated, because if they had been, it probably would have creeped me the fuck out.
I watched the teaser trailer for this. I think this movie has a really good teaser because it had hooked me on it. It looks more interesting than it ended up being, and more like. I was hoping this would be more schlocky.
Okay.
I wish this had gone more of the route of just kind of like doubling down as a horror comedy, or at least having the kind of tone that like Tremors does.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because this movie, if this movie was more like Tremors, and less like
Land
just spoilers for Infested.
Spoilers for Tremors.
This is, I think, trying way too hard to make these characters likable.
Yep.
They spend long stretches of this movie.
The first hour of this movie.
They spend so much time trying to give like backstory to the main guy and his sister and his like buddy who.
We need monsters and teens to kill. They don't need pathos. They don't need to be likable. They need to be the opposite of likable.
They're trying to go the route of like Hereditary, where it is like Hereditary gets to be a family drama before it turns into a horror movie because Ari Aster is good about writing characters.
What makes Tremors so good is it takes itself seriously while 100% knowing exactly what it is, right?
Tremors also lets the actors basically create their charisma. You know, it's not taking the time to... We don't have extended, drawn-out backstories of all the characters in Tremors because it's not necessary.
Right.
Like, Tremors understands what it is and what
Kevin
it wants
Bacon,
to do with
Fred Ward, Michael Gross. That was all you needed.
And then, like, the supporting characters are also typically, like with, like, Bert, you know, a lot of his character, he has great one-liners, but a lot of his character is based on the performance. You know, we don't end up grinding the movie to a halt.
His character is entirely the performance, I think.
Yeah.
Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon, they just as actors on their own have a charisma about them, or just straight up charisma, I would say. Like Fred Ward, even when he's a villain in a movie, is likable. You just want to like him for some reason. And like my wife knows him from a couple of like chick flicks, like romantic comedies and stuff. He's usually like the girl's dad or something. And he's usually like a dick, but he's such a likable dick because he's Fred Ward. Like, you know? And then Kevin Bacon. So like you were just automatically in on those characters. You didn't need any backstory. You got all the backstory you needed from the storytelling.
This is also incredibly disjointed in the fact that, hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Why does this movie take 30 minutes to establish a dynamic with the main character and his sister? To forget about it so they can create another 30-minute dynamic between the main character and his friend.
We don't
need both of those. What is that?
We have an entire subplot about the fact that he is a stolen shoe dealer and it's solely a vehicle for the first person getting bit.
And it doesn't matter at all after that.
Doesn't matter at all after that.
And what's frustrating too is like if the movie had been the way that it was, and I looked up on IMDb, and its runtime was 90 minutes, I maybe could kind of understand that because it's like at that point they're trying to flesh this out to make it feature length. This is an hour and 50 minutes long.
Yeah, you
can by default chop off 20 minutes of this character backstory shit that doesn't matter. It's like I was saying. They take so much time to establish the falling out between the main character and his sister, and that is supposed to be kind of like pathos for the characters. And then later on, they do the exact same thing where there's a backstory where the main character had a falling out with his best friend.
Yeah.
Why do we need both of those? Those you're not even like developing one of the character dynamics fully. You're just kind of like throwing fucking pathos at the wall and hoping something sticks. And it's so poorly done.
Yeah,
I was shocked at how well this reviewed. This movie has a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I was shocked.
I'm about to go full Palpatine here. No.
Like I don't get it.
The whole movie I think is supposed to be some kind of metaphor for like inner demons and struggling and stuff, because the whole movie is about this one asshole deciding to stop being an asshole is what the whole movie is about. Because the way he treats his sister, the way he treats his friends, the way he treats the idiot that's his friend that is clearly not an MMA fighter.
Yeah, why
dude, when they said he's an MMA fighter, I was like, oh, dude, there's going to be a Train to Busan part where he starts duct taping his hands up and then just starts punching spiders, and I'm here for it. Never happens.
We need
Never
to get Train to
happens.
Busan on this podcast. That movie's
We need
dope.
to watch the sequel.
Yeah, we need to just
I've
set
never
aside a
seen
month to cover Train to Busan, and then have an excuse to review the second one too, because I want an excuse to watch that too.
Fuck off. Tomato meter is 96%. The popcorn meter is 65%, and that's too high.
Yeah. Why does his buddy, who's his
Spaceballs is 52 and 83. I still cannot believe this movie should not be higher than Spaceballs.
Yeah, that's a fucking travesty that cannot be forgiven. But why does the character that is his like other buddy, who he's like thrifting shit with, even exist?
I don't know.
Because you're trying to like this. Okay, this movie is trying to be like a Jordan Peele or Ari Aster movie so bad.
Yeah,
like they're trying to make you care about these characters, and it's like I said earlier with Ari Aster, the same thing with like Jordan Peele. Like Jordan Peele can write characters. Like we loved some of those characters in Nope, for instance. You know, like we cared by the end because they wrote good characters. Taking the time to like go through the motions of creating like character backstory doesn't mean we're gonna give a shit, especially when it's like so clumsily. Like the fucking puzzle pieces like don't fit together. Like they don't even take the time to like thread the needle on the dynamic with his sister. It doesn't matter in the end. It circles back around for 1-2 second conversation when they think they're about to die. And that's it.
Nope is a very apt comparison because it's about a guy and his sister and their relationship. And that movie does take time to go into history and backstory and stuff, but no time is wasted in that movie. The legwork being laid at the beginning of the movie with the dad and what they do for a living and the sister and stuff is layer upon layer upon layer that all plays back in somehow later in the movie. Some of this shit is just in here to increase the runtime.
Yeah, it's padding.
It's so doing much what padding. It thinks is pathos, but it's really not. It's an hour and 50 minutes. If this movie was 60 minutes shorter or whatever, I'm too tired to do math. Whatever gets it down to like 90 minutes. Cut out all the shit at the beginning of this. Start with the spiders. I don't need to know the spiders come from the desert. Like, what was that at the beginning of the movie?
That opening scene doesn't make any fucking sense anyway.
Yeah. I don't get it.
They are driving around. They stop in the middle of nowhere without having any way to know that the spiders are even there, and then they just start randomly looking beneath rocks for holes.
But they know the spiders are there because they're looking for the spiders. And then,
because of like the equipment they have and everything and how careful they're being, they're aware of what's going on, and the guy still sticks his head down the hole. Like, they're supposed to know what they're doing,
like
and at least be aware of what the threat is.
What it reminded me of is the dude looking at the egg from Alien and putting his face right up against it as the facehugger jumps out. That's what it reminded me of. This movie is entirely made out of facehuggers and no alien.
Yeah, that's a problem too. It's like they needed a way to elevate the threats outside of them just being slightly bigger progressively. Because the last there's a couple of scenes when the spiders first come out that is a bit creepy. Like I think the direction actually has a couple of moments that are pretty good. Like the first scene that I liked as far as direction is where I can't even tell you what fucking character it was, but one of the girls in the movie is like in a bathroom, and the
shower drain
is of the mirror behind her.
Okay, that was fucking cool.
So she's so the scene is set up. She's in a bathroom, right?
Right at the beginning of the movie, mirror,
And then what is it? Is it like a vent in the bathroom? Yeah, it's like an air vent that you see
in the background. The way it's framed, you see her in the foreground off to the side. The mirror is front and center, and you're seeing her in the mirror. And there's an air vent near the ceiling at the top of the wall, and it just falls off, which scares her. And it seems like just a needless jump scare moment. But then she goes back to doing what she's doing, and then you see one spider come out and run down the wall.
And it's all silent. It's absolutely silent.
And then
that adds to the creepiness of it.
There's like one more spider comes out. Then there's like two spiders. and then it just keeps building until there's this stream of spiders coming out, and it stops, and then she turns around, picks up the air vent, climbs back up, and is putting the air vent back on the wall, on the ducting, and then it cuts to this image of all these spiders inside this duct with her fingers sticking through the air vent as she's putting it back on.
And it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good.
The best thing that happens in this whole movie. That camera angle was beautiful.
Yeah, that's actually one thing. Is like we have been highly critical of the writing, specifically in like the character development in this. I am actually totally on board for this director working on the Evil Dead, which is, I think I had heard that I remarked in the last episode. I believe this director has been tapped to work with a future Evil Dead movie. Because like moments like that, it's like the other scene I was thinking of is later on in the movie when they are going to check on the neighbor, and it's another really well framed shot.
When the head just moves on its own.
Yeah, because the shot is framed with like a rack focus to where you're focusing on the conversation between the main character and his friend, I believe, in the entryway of the living room, to where their neighbor is not moving. And then she's like slightly off to the left of the center frame and not the focal point of the scene and like what you're listening to as far as their conversation. And then there's like a good sound effect as her head twitches.
Yeah.
It's really well done.
It's very
so it's like
Walking
between those
Dead.
two scenes. Yeah, for sure. Between those two scenes, I think that this director does have some chops as far as like establishing what I can move around in the scene, what you're paying attention to and what you're not, and making it creepy. I think totally works. It's just like the writing fucking sucks so bad in this.
It's not even just that. It's the head moves in a way that your brain knows is unnatural, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if the actress is doing that. I don't know if it's a dummy that they're actuating. I don't know if it's the actress that has something behind her head moving it for her. There's something about that head movement that is hard to describe that you just know is not natural when you look at it. And yeah, that's pretty good. My favorite thing though was the mirror. That was the best the best thing.
What sucks too, man, is it sells a false bill of goods, because that's like the second or first, like the first scare is the guy with the shoebox, which that scene's pretty creepy. Like when he's holding the box and it just explodes on his arm with like 1,000 tiny spiders. Because to me that's the creepy part.
And then they try to double down on it later.
That's the creepy part to me, is like the that scene with like the tiny spiders and like the silent spiders in the background, when they just try to turn them into like the size of a fucking velociraptor. I'm just like, this is less cool to me.
It turns into 8-legged freaks by the end.
I was totally thinking that too when I was watching this.
I fucking love that movie,
but with that like none of the charm.
Even my dad always thought that movie was like just kind of too stupid, and I'm like, no, this is the right amount of stupid for me.
That's the kind of like schlock I want with this premise, because that's what you should do when you have a fucking spider movie.
Especially when this is just a fucking spider from the desert. Like, it's not a mutation. It's not an alien. This is just apparently what spiders do when you bring them to France. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want my movie to explain the creature to me. But you can't tell me that just a random spider from the desert, that this is a thing on the planet, right? Like,
their explanation too is stupid, because like they keep talking about how it's like Darwinism, and it's like the species is like always like increasing its size after
this movie's got a really weird like Darwinism like is bad thing. I don't know.
Because this movie thinks it's like 10 times smarter than it actually is, and that fuels frustration for me like tenfold.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I would much rather this movie have just been a schlocky kind of cabin in the woods type thing, where we're not taking it that seriously. Because I'm totally down for like a fucking stupid 8-legged freaks creature feature where it is schlocky and silly, but this is trying to have character developments of characters you don't give a shit about. It's trying to have these like fucking metatextual like Darwinism takes that go nowhere. They don't know whether they want to like actually make these things scary to me because like I said earlier, like if you're an arachnophobe, this will probably scare the shit out of you. But if you're not, there's no like the point of comparison you made earlier with like Alien, if it had only face huggers, I think is like such a good point of comparison because like there is escalation to that movie.
Yeah.
Like the threat at the beginning is not the threat at the end. It changes.
Yeah, the
escalation, the spider's getting progressively 8% bigger, and it's like I don't care. It's like I was so bored, and when they're running away from the fucking spiders that are the size of like German shepherds by the end, I was so bored.
Yeah,
like, it's so dumb. And then they have like a fucking shootout with the local cops. Oh, that's one of the other messages of this movie.
Cops
this
are bad.
Movie has like a huge emphasis on its views with the police, and it's just like I just want to watch a fucking creature feature with the spiders, dude. I don't want to hear about what you think of Darwinism. I don't want to hear about what you think of cops. I just want to watch the fucking spiders kill people in a horror movie, please. Just give me the fuck, give me that fucking movie, please.
I am not familiar with the social dynamics of the populace versus the police in France. That could be a cultural thing not coming through for us, or maybe coming through for us too well. I don't know, because we don't have a good relationship with the police in America.
I would have the exact same opinion if it had been an American movie with the same message.
It's true, because
I don't want the message there, period, because you're supposed to be making a fucking creature feature. I don't need your fucking thesis on the socio-political spectrum of cops and goddamn apartment buildings. I don't want that.
It's got this weird throwback vibe to it, and I mean this in the worst way, of like a 70s horror movie. You know what I mean? Like, the cops find one body and then shut the whole building down, and no one's allowed to leave for any reason because they suspect that there are like these spiders running around growing out of people. And
well, initially they think it's like another pandemic.
Yeah,
because
they
of
have
the first
body.
Yeah,
like it's really strange. They have nothing to go on. And
also
that reminds me of like an old,
they never even like. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it reminds me of like an old like 60s or 70s horror movie, but like the worst parts of the way they were made or written then, right? I don't know.
Also, dude, like this wasn't like a you know how in a similar scenario the what happens with the body snatcher pod people would throw scientists for a loop because it's from fucking outer space. This was from the desert.
Yeah,
this was fucking spiders in the desert. Like, why are they so thrown for a loop? They also don't go in to try to do any more testing on anybody.
Yeah,
they just have that one body and they do it's so frustrating. They also never really show you like what's happening outside the building. Why couldn't they just go down to like the second floor and then just like go down a fucking fire escape?
Because they need more permits.
Why isn't a fire escape ever even a fucking talking point? Because they exist in buildings.
Yeah.
They don't even ever talk about that. They never show one. You never see anything as far as like the quarantine. Like almost every time you have this quarantine situation, we get at least a brief moment of switching perspectives to the people outside and then showing what's going on in the quarantine zone. Nope. Not here.
Not here.
It is lazy as fuck and really frustrating to watch. I had a couple moments like that early scene we talked about with the mirror where I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of creepy and cool. And then it just fucking goes nowhere. And the last like hour of it, you're like progressively more bummed out because you're just like, oh, this isn't going anywhere. And it doesn't.
This movie feels like someone mashed up two different movies together, right? Because it's trying to be this story about this asshole learning to not be an asshole, and it's trying to be this horror movie about spiders, and the two are meeting in the worst possible way. Like, I don't know. The writing I have a lot of problems with. A lot of the graphics are okay. The more spiders are on screen, the more it looks like they went to the dollar store and bought rubber spiders to hang in all the webs and all the cotton webbing. Yeah, I don't know.
It's fucking frustrating. This is like one of the most frustrating movies I've watched in a long time because this movie has like potential.
Yeah.
Like it has like the director clearly has some chops as far as like setting up a scene. It just needed like so we've talked a lot about like the direction. So Sebastian Vanacek is the director and co-writer of this. We apologize in advance for all the names we're about to butcher because this is a movie that was made in France. It's subtitled if you watch it, like for English speaking purposes.
I don't know how I feel about this person's views of animals. Because the other thing that is directed is a dogfighting movie, and it sounds like it's on the wrong end of dogfighting.
Oh, really?
It's about a guy getting back into dogfighting.
That's unfortunate. What is that? Well,
it's called Crocs.
Weird.
And he really likes this black and white poster style. It's exactly the same as Infested.
That's the other thing too. Is like this movie didn't need the dog. Like
yeah, that was just played to no one likes it when bad things happen to dogs.
Yeah, and it was just like we said, it's just like the fucking easy button pathos of it's just like no one wants to see that, and it's not necessary to again figure out that this should be a fucking like schlocky creature feature that doesn't have that much of like a bummer to it. Like
yeah. This was unfortunate. I'm glad we're on the same page though. I was like, oh no, if Jeff loves this movie, I don't know what to do with this episode.
Yeah, I was
gonna be real surprised, but still.
At the beginning, I was like, "This fucking sucks" because I'm so bored of this idiot selling shoes and the neighbor's party,
and
which
the
is
landlord
also, like
is it hash? You got hash in that box.
Yeah, that guy fucking sucks, and it's like, it's so dumb. Like they don't know how to establish likable or unlikable characters.
Yeah,
and the fact that they don't realize it doesn't fucking matter because people just want to see them. Like these people should be viewed as fucking characters in a Jason Voorhees movie.
Yes,
they need to be expendable and then just there for the cool creature feature scenes of how the spiders will kill them.
The spiders are which is what happens with force of nature.
Which is what happens with like the scenes when we switch perspectives from the main characters, I think are handled so much better. Like we have like a little cutaway short story with the janitor lady.
Dude, the janitor lady is incredible and I love her.
She's the MVP, dude. She should have been the main fucking character, not the other idiots. But the way that her scene progresses totally works for like what this could have been. It's just this janitor lady going around like, what the fuck is going on? She like at one point looks in the ceiling and sees the spider infestation, and then like fucking sprays like 2 giant ass cans of Raid everywhere, and it's just like trying to take care of the fucking problem.
Yeah,
and it's just like having the little like vignettes of the side characters shows that like what this movie should have fucking been.
And then there's this weird there's a weird message with her too. So our main character is not only is the movie about him being an asshole and learning to not be an asshole, but I guess he's also a fuck up even when he's trying to be good, because he's like trying to help her and fucks it up at the beginning. Like I don't understand what the message is supposed to be with Caleb or Caleb.
I don't think they quite ever figured it out either.
I don't think they knew. Yeah.
Dude, the fact that him and his friend were gonna have a reptile zoo, like, get the fuck out of here. This is so stupid. Like,
I mean, that is a thing though. I've been to them.
It's the fact that the fucking spider infestation happens with the 2 characters who were gonna have a reptile zoo is the most contrived fucking stupid shit. The fact that he has like 400 dangerous species of reptiles.
Well, they're not even reptiles. They're insects.
Too.
They're insects and arachnids.
There's a bit of everything. He's got like fucking everything in his bedroom.
I just don't understand.
That is already irresponsible, because like if any of those fucking things gets out, that apartment building is gonna have to be nuked from orbit because it's the only way to be sure.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that too.
Yeah. I can't really talk too negatively about the performances in this, because like we've talked multiple times about how like we have problems with the writing and the core concepts for the characters and their character arcs and everything. But why it's like it's problematic too, because like we said, this was made in France, and they're speaking in French, so we are getting their performances. Some of them seem to be perfectly fine.
I was gonna say, to me, their performances seem to be fine. Some of
Yeah,
them are over the top, but what over the top fits in this movie. This is
yeah,
the type of movie this should be. Over
yeah.
top fits in.
I think they sell their levels of like freak out pretty well.
Yes, I agree. Especially the hallway scene with the municipal police chick, Jordy's
Yeah.
girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, what I'd really like from this point of view with this main character is I think there is this is like a common theme for stuff we've covered the last few months, but like if you just remove like 20 minutes from this, it goes a long way.
Less
Because
is more.
like, why do we need to take the time to show the party with the neighbor?
I don't
just
know. For pathos. Because she was one day away from retirement.
It's like, yeah, and it's so contrived.
It was
all the time.
one day away from retirement, and she's too old for this shit.
It's so contrived. She's barely in the movie. You're gonna have like the baseline empathy you have for her is gonna be the exact same just for her as a person if they didn't have the party scene, because she's a friendly neighbor and like the main character cares about her. It's like we're not increasing the levels of like pathos just by having interaction. It's just like everything that's done is like so that fucking 2 + 2 equals 4. That's just like, hey, if we have time that's showing this guy is friends with the neighbor, people will care. No, you need to. There needs to be more like nuance to it than that. It's like screen time doesn't equal that I give a shit.
Yeah, you're hitting on my point. This movie does not trust the audience to react like a human, to react like a person, right? I don't need to know this lady's full detail to feel bad when she dies in a terrible way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't need to be friends with her before she dies to feel anything when she dies.
Exactly.
When the movie just does not trust the audience to have those feelings. It's I don't know. It's an interesting case study because this movie on the surface, like, I don't know, I really had to think about what my issues were with this movie to figure it out, because it was like, why was this movie not like great? Because you have the mirror scene, you have the old lady in her apartment with the head twitching and shit. You had like some of the neighbors belong in this movie, right? Like the stupid fucking landlord belongs in this movie. Or at least in the movie that this wants to be. He belongs there because he's an over-the-top, stereotypical character that's in every horror movie, and he gets what's coming to him, just like in any horror movie. It's the fact that this movie feels like Sebastian Vanacek had an idea that he built a movie around rather than fleshing out an idea into a movie.
Exactly.
He knew he wanted to make a horror movie with spiders, but it's also trying to be like this grand opus at the same time. And it's like, no,
you gotta walk before you can run.
Yeah, we need just a bunch of teens at a camp getting murdered. That's all we need. We don't need to explain. It makes the I'm trying really hard not to be the Caleb of this situation, of this discussion, but and I say this as someone that's not artistic or a writer at all, but as someone that watches movies, it makes the like beginner's 101 mistake of you need to explain everything. You need to explain who all of these people are and why they're on screen. It's an apartment building. I know why they're on screen. They live there. I don't need to know about this lady about to move out. I don't need to know about the background of the fucking landlord. I don't need all this drama between the main character and all. And when I say it's two different movies, it feels like there could be an interesting movie about this asshole's life, and there could be an interesting movie that is a horror movie based on arachnophobia, and it just feels like some of the worst chocolate got in some of the worst peanut butter is what happened.
Yeah, think of what this movie could be.
There's an interesting drama and an interesting horror movie that clashed, and they tried to combine and they clashed rather than combining.
You want to like think of the context of this movie. If your starting point is just random people in the apartment building having run-ins with the spiders, like what if the opening shot of this movie was what happens with the janitor lady?
Well, they do some stuff like that with the janitor lady, and it's great. The janitor lady is some of the best done stuff in this movie.
But I'm saying, what if that's the starting point?
Right. You're saying we skip the desert and everything.
We skip the desert. We skip all of the main characters at the beginning. It is like your cold open is the spider infestation is already happening, and you are learning about it as random people in the apartment building are.
What that does is build this sense of dread because you realize, oh, it's already too late.
Yeah.
Like, it's already happened.
It also makes it more interesting because you're trying to figure out as the movie's progressing, like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
When you already know what happened, there's no sense of, like, foreboding to it because you already know. It's because the dipshit fucking bought a spider. It's so fucking lame,
euros.
Dude.
What the fuck? When I went to France in 2004, a euro was $1.37. So that's what, $137 in 2004 money?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for a spider that's going to turn you into spiders. It kind of feels like the way the spider mechanics work in this movie. It feels like that Doctor Who episode with the adipose, the fat just walks away when that lady just melts into a big pile of the little adipose creatures.
Right.
The spiders just walk away.
For a point of comparison, look back at what they choose to open Oddity with. Like, what you progress through the beginning portions of the movie in Oddity are so much better. Like, it's always leading to, like, a question, you know? None of this is leading to a fucking question. The idiot bought a spider, and then the idiot let it out, and then there's a fucking spider infestation. And then,
a box that he knew was ruined is what he put the spider in.
He's so fucking unlikable. And it's like, if you have a dude who's a jackass, is an asshole to all of his friends and family members, no amount of screen time is going to make him likable because you wrote him to be unlikable. This is just, have you ever watched the movie Attack the Block?
No, but I've heard of it.
Attack the Block is very similar. Attack the Block is like, from a lot of people, like really well thought of.
Okay.
And it has this exact same problem of like, the main characters are such colossal shitheads, and it's trying to like crowbar in likability for them, and it's like, man, I'm rooting for the fucking monsters. I want these little fucks to die.
Right.
Like, they're assholes. They're not likable characters, and that's like most of the people does.
You don't have to be the worst person on the planet to have problems with your family or problems with your sister or no one handling mom dying. Did you guys react this way when dad died? No one talks about dad.
They also have the fucking subplot. There's like 12 subplots layered.
I can't walk away from this. I am a dad. I need to know about dad. Like,
them trying to save the fucking rec center, dude, when he's trying to collect money so they can keep their apartment. Like, dude, who fucking cares? It's an apartment building.
The rec center dude?
Do what?
Who's the rec center dude?
No, like I was just saying, as the old cheesy like trope of we had to save the rec center. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I do.
There's like an old cheesy 80s like trope where it's like save the rec center, where there's like a group of people that are trying to like save a building from being shut down or something. It's like a trope for old 80s movies, but them having to like he's trying to make money so they can save their apartment because mom lived here. Like, bro, that's a sentiment that like someone when they're 16 would have. That guy looks like he's in his like late 20s. Like,
hey, 16 seems old. I'm thinking like 12, 13 maybe.
Yeah. It's pretty dumb.
It's
like
pretty
I also
dumb.
have no idea how old the main character is supposed to be.
It's hard to tell.
It's really hard to
because
tell.
He's like a dude in his 30s that they make up to look like he's 18.
Yeah,
like the hair and the way he dresses and the way he acts and some of the colossal stupid decisions he makes. Is okay. I guess I'll bring it up when you mention him. Go ahead and we mentioned the director as one of the writers, and we stopped on the cast to talk about the movie some more.
Sebastian Vanacek is the director and co-writer. The other co-writer is Florent Bernard. The music is also very like in one ear and out the other. I honestly couldn't tell you like what the score was going for.
I do not remember the music at all.
I can't remember it even a little bit. I cannot remember it at all. The cast, again, I apologize for the butchering of the names, but we have Theo Christine, who is
we are English only language.
We have Sophia Lasaf as Lila, Jerome Neal as Matisse, Liza Nyarko as Manon, Finnegan Oldfield as Jordy.
And Jordy, by the way, is fucking Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory. Just ha 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 ha.
Is Jordy his like buddy who dies
the
in the
reptile
hallway?
Buddy.
Okay, I have a hard time even figuring out
reptile
which idiot.
Fatality.
Like it's just like why are both Matisse and Jordy characters? These feel like characters that could have been like
Jordy is the only likable character to me in the whole movie anyway.
Yeah,
of course.
I mean, I feel kind of bad for the lady who's just there because she's like dating Jordy. I feel pretty bad for her because she's just there,
and she is literally arachnophobic, and that her acting in the tunnel scene is what I was talking about when they had to walk down that hallway.
The spiral shot is pretty cool.
Okay, the spiral shot made me sick.
I thought the spiral shot was pretty cool.
It started out cool, but then it went on for about 35 minutes. And by the end of it, I was just nauseous.
You're like on a fucking roller coaster ride by that point. It's just like spiral.
God. Yeah, it needed to move. If it was going to go that long, it needed to spiral more slowly, I think.
I could see that. Yeah, I didn't have any like motion sickness with it, but I can totally see that because it does the scene
I don't
lasts
get motion sickness in movies, but I did
a long
then.
Time. I get it.
But that is pretty cool. Her acting in that moment is pretty good and pretty believable. The way they have to walk her through and talk her through it as they're going. I just thought of something. The other like the type of movie you and I wanted this to be, the type of like schlock, like kind of 80s horror movie, is also set up with how shitty this apartment building is.
Like the timer on the light.
There's a genuinely funny moment that I believe is meant to be funny. I don't think it's unintentional. They keep going on about these motion sensors in the hallway. And when the light is the only thing keeping them back, and then the motion sensor goes out and they're like, oh shit, and they all start waving like crazy to get the motion sensor back on.
Yeah, there's a couple moments like that are pretty funny. Yeah. And they seem to be intentional. So it's like this movie had the capability to be funny. It just needed to take itself less seriously. And I think that fixes like so many problems.
The motion sensor thing was my favorite thing this movie did. But like when the guy put on the timer, and that timer, you get 1 minute, right? And then it shuts the lights off. It only went to 30 seconds and cut off on him. And he was like, God, doesn't anything in this fucking building work? Like, it was setting up a lot of that type of like 80s, like what else could go wrong? Like, could this possibly be any worse? And then the lights go out. It was setting up a lot of that type of tropes. I think the 1 minute timer lasted a minute when she went through it. It lasted about half that time. You see the timer get about halfway done, and then it stops and the lights go out on the guy before there. But in the spider scene, I think it lasted the whole time. So that was disappointing, but the motion sensor was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, so like that's one of the things that makes it like more irritating to me.
I know, because there's bones. There's in
good
here.
Stuff. There's good stuff in here. Yeah. Like some of the directions.
There's
good,
not 206 of them.
Good.
207 if I'm watching Gossip Girl. Or not Gossip Girl. What was it? What was it? Blake Lively was in. Is it?
Was it? I thought that was Gossip Girl.
Is it Gossip Girl? Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. That's a great line.
This movie just needed to take itself less seriously. It needed to trim off 20 minutes. The entire first 20 minutes needs to go.
Yeah.
Just and then you cold
and
open.
And then 20 more minutes after that throughout the movie.
if you cold open with the janitor lady scene,
Yes.
then you have so much of a better introduction to the threat, and then like you're like, what the fuck? What led to these spiders doing this? And then
this movie,
you're immediately like this movie has like what it thinks are like a good ramp up. Like it thinks it has like a slow burn, but what it has is like 12 onboarding points.
Yeah.
And none of them are interesting.
What I would like to see is Topher Grace rework this movie.
Oh, with the way he did his edit.
Yeah,
like
when he was editing
prequels.
movies and people were freaking out about how great his versions of movies were.
Yeah, he like
feel
made one of the prequel movies like really good.
I feel like in the hands of a really great editor, this movie would be completely different.
That's actually one of the things that I'm interested in as far as like this guy working on Evil Dead is if he's working with people who are like dedicated screenwriters. I'm okay with him being a director. I do not want him writing, but I think he does have some interesting.
Here's something positive
director.
also. Yeah, not only is he interesting chops as a director, this movie is competently put together. The issues we have is the writing and the characters. A lot of it.
Yeah,
it's competently put together. The editing needs to happen. I don't think it happened at all. But it's, you know, it's shot well. It's lit well. Even on my TV, it's lit well.
the movements within the scenes when they're going up the stairwell are really good.
Yeah, like it's like competently
the movement
made.
Of it is really
movie.
good.
Yeah,
like scenes in stairwells are sometimes like hard to make because it can be very like stilted and awkward, but it feels like super organic when they are running away from the spiders, and the one guy is having to like it's a really good moment of tension when he is having to like spin up the flashlight, and that gives him a few seconds to be able to freeze the spiders in place, and then he has to keep running while he's ramping up the light. It's a pretty good scene. It's like there's good movement of the characters within the scenes, the way they're framed against the like the spiders and stuff.
Yeah, it's just it's in the it's not the way that it's put together. It's in the editing, the writing, and the characters, not the acting. As again, I think the acting is fine. I think the acting is. It's hard, like you said. It's hard to say with English being not only
The
first language
barrier.
but only language.
From what we can tell, we like the performances.
But what we could get, you know, yeah, it came through pretty good. The movie is good enough. And a lot is good enough that I forgot about the subtitles. I don't usually prefer subtitles, but I forgot about the subtitles about halfway through. I was too focused on how I wish this was a different movie to think about the subtitles.
I also similarly forgot about the subtitles.
So I mean that's the thing, because there are some movies that are painful enough. You're like, God, and I have to read it on top of this.
I'm a dumb American. I don't want to fucking read.
Who the fuck reads anymore? Siri, read this movie to me. Like, yeah.
What is the what? Let's talk about the fucking hard cut to them doing a demolition of the building. Like that's gonna solve everything. Like, for the stakes are that humanity is like pretty much fucked in this country. To me,
yeah.
Because like, how do you stop this plague of spiders? And then all of a sudden they're just like the building, which isn't contained as far as like being like a quarantine containment. It's just a fucking building, and they're just demoing it. That's not going to solve the problem.
I don't know what that's supposed to do. That was one of the things I was going to bring up later. They don't tint the building. That's the solution. You tint the fucking building. Yeah, I don't know what that's supposed to do. The thing that's incredibly stupid that I don't want to hand it to this movie, but I kind of have to hand it to this movie because one of the characters, it's Caleb, does something incredibly stupid. I was like, that's fucking stupid. And the movie reacted to that in exactly the way it should have.
What's that?
He throws a Molotov cocktail at the spiders, which makes them charge him. And I was like, when he's
they're on the ceiling too, and he hits the floor. He does nothing but scare them.
First off, he pulls a Grand Theft Auto Molotov cocktail out of his backpack, just out of his inventory. Like, he didn't pull a bottle out and shove a rag in it. It was ready made in the backpack. He pulls it out, lights it, and I was like, what? What are you doing? This is like the worst thing that you could possibly do. And the movie reacts with, that was the worst thing he could possibly do because that makes the spiders charge him. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
at least you acknowledge, movie, that was a dumb fucking. Again, I think the character, he looks 30, is supposed to be like 18. I think this is a Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man situation, as a
As a
high
geriatric
school Spider-Man, yeah, situation. Because he's reacting like, you know, he watches too many movies or something.
It's also just so funny. Like, he throws that shit. He's got the instant GTA 5-star rating where those spiders just having none of his bullshit.
And
oh man,
that is immediately followed up. That's where the motion sensor scene happens, right? The lights are the only thing keeping them at bay when they get down a few flights of stairs, and then the lights click off. And like, oh shit! And everyone just starts waving around like crazy.
With the motion sensor thing too, I also like how everyone is constantly tripping on the stairs because the stupid motion sensor is not working.
Yeah,
that is a good little touch of writing that like everyone in a shitty apartment building has that little thing you deal with that is annoying as fuck. Like, that's well observed to me. The thing with the motion sensor.
And it's Chekhov's motion sensor. Like, that didn't come into play in the movie at all. You're expecting that to be how someone dies. Someone trips down the stairs and the lights go off, and then the spiders get them.
Yeah.
The reason I keep saying these aren't spiders is because they don't move right. And the sound they make is that same chittering sound from the Mummy with the scarabs.
Mm-hmm.
And like, bugs don't do that. Like, that's not a sound that like a spider makes. So they're not moving right. And a lot of the times they're not moving at all. They're just being kind of like dragged across some cotton that's been stretched out into a web. But I don't know. So one of the YouTube channels I watch for video games is Rage Select, and the main guy on there is an arachnophobe, and there is a spiders jumping in your face game. I think it's one of the Metro games. It didn't bother him. Spiders in like Bloodborne and other video games freak him the fuck out, and he can't suffer them to live even in real life. But it took him a while to figure out why it wasn't triggering him in that game. And at some point, he realized the spiders have 6 legs, not 8, and that their bodies aren't moving right. And his brain subconsciously was like, "That's not a spider."
At that point, it's essentially just a facehugger, like you said.
Yeah, and because of the way they move in this movie and that chittering sound that they were making, I was just like, "These aren't spiders." Like, nothing is triggering my brain to be afraid of the thing that is probably in my house somewhere right now, watching me watch this movie.
Yeah, like fuck it, dude. Shelob in Lord of the Rings acts like more of a spider.
Shelob is fucking terrifying, and then
she acts like more of a like. You know what's cool too? Like, what's the creepiest scene with her when she's not making any noise silently in the background?
Exactly.
That's what like the skittering thing makes them not scary.
Exactly.
If like the best scene in The Mirror when they're silently leaving the ceiling is so good. Like, if they were just more silent throughout the movie, that would amp it up to be more scary. But like, they needed to have moments where like they just turn a corner and like maybe they're walking through a hallway and you just see them silently moving like above them on the ceiling and the characters are unaware. That needed to be happening more. Like, why aren't there more scenes where they aren't aware that shit's happening like above them and they're in frame, you know? There need to be more of that.
Did you laugh when the dude kicked his foot through the sheetrock? Like, because there's like a goddamn spider crab sized spider on his wall.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, yeah, that's the appropriate response. Oh, man. God. So there were 2 people in the that live in this apartment building that were genuinely heartbreaking to me. I was gonna see if there were anyone in the building that was heartbreaking to you. The first being the old man that was using every glass and bowl he had.
That's like one of the, to me, like the best scene in the movie outside the mirror scene. That is very tragic.
That's so tragic.
Yeah, and he's got like 80 glasses on the ground.
Yeah,
around him.
He's just surrounded by them.
If that was like the second thing that like happened after your introduction,
like the kid leaving the glasses of water around and signs,
right?
Just swing away. No, don't. They have spiders.
Yeah,
that was one of them, and the other one was not the kid that kicks his foot through the wall, but the dad that's passed out drunk that finds his kid dead because his dad was screaming for him and he was drunk and passed out.
Or his son was screaming for him.
Yeah, was screaming for him and he was drunk and passed out. Because we cut to when he's dying from the spiders to the dad drunk and passed out on the couch. But later we cut back to where he's found his son. And it's like, that was played for pathos and that one landed.
And you don't want to know what? How much time did we spend developing their backstory?
About 2 seconds.
About 2 fucking seconds, because if it's an effective like bit of characterization, you don't need time invested. Like, you know what this like feels like to me is, like you said earlier, it feels like they had like their core concept, and these are almost like vignette ideas.
Yeah,
these are like individual short stories, and he picked like the absolute worst one that they did him, the 2 co-writers, to make into the main character and surrounding characters.
Right, like
the most cookie cutter fucking kid selling shoes who's a complete dipshit. But we could have done a lot better. So this is one of the things, like, this is a huge bummer because there are great moments in this, and this has so much potential.
I feel like in the hands of a proper editor, there's a really good movie in here.
Yeah.
You know,
just gotta shave off like 20 minutes.
There's a lot of things that needed to be different, but I feel like I said, hand this movie to Topher Grace. I'm interested in seeing what comes back.
Agreed.
Because there are some genuinely good moments in here. There are some things that would work better if I wasn't already tired of seeing the person on screen. You know, like, I don't need these random people in the desert specifically looking for these fucking spiders. I don't know why they're the only people on the planet that know these spiders are here.
The ending is also really, really frustrating for me because the impact that these spiders are having on these people and the way that this entire giant apartment building just gets systematically annihilated for the problem to just simply be solved because the building, which isn't properly contained, being demolished, is so cheap.
Yeah.
Because like when you're watching the movie from their perspective, this feels like apocalyptic.
Yes.
Like, at least for France, because like the sense of like dread within the character group that you're following feels like it did in like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where like you feel the dread of like everyone's fucked and this country's fucked, the whole world's fucked. This at least feels like
we're tired.
Everybody should be absolutely fucked in France.
So,
and then like when you cut wide and then everything is just honky fucking dory, like nothing happened, is really cheap.
Yeah, that building needed to be tinted and fogged to no end for years.
No, we need to nuke it from orbit. That's the only way to be sure. There's no more France. France is gone.
Yeah,
it's been nuked.
This is a zombie apocalypse movie where they did not handle the zombies, is what this is.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when the spider bites you, you become hundreds of spiders. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, where did that go?
Yeah.
Also, like, think of the fucking, like, so they constantly get bigger. What's the fucking like size of the litter by the end of this? You know, like they're huge. They take so much time to like properly explain, quote unquote, like the science behind these super spiders, and it's just solved.
And the science behind these super spiders is Darwin.
Yeah,
that's it.
I heard about Charles Darwin in my high school science class, my fucking high school biology class. So hashtag Darwinism. That's the science explanation. And then like everything's fine because they got squished. The fucking spider earlier on got squished when the fucking dog ate it.
It was already squished before the dog ate it.
And then that became what happened with that. Like, when they all get squished in the fucking demolition, what happens then?
It feels like a stand-in for a goddamn symbiote in a Spider-Man comic.
Yeah, like the way that they are progressing in size,
it's
and how much
this is Mega Spider-Man's origin.
Like,
it turns out he's a really good guy.
It's like, what is up with this? Like, the stakes seem so high with the type of like infestation that they're like. The fucking movie's called Infested, but no, it's fine. Yeah. We demoed the building, everything's fine. Don't worry about it, man. We're also gonna have this like super fucking pretentious final scene with like the main character and a spider in the woods, which makes no fucking sense
and
doesn't.
That
portrays nothing. Like, he has like a spider on his hand that he sees in the middle of the woods, and he like looks at it and then like does like a little and like whooshes it off of his hand with like by blowing on it. It's so stupid. It tells me nothing.
Do you get the feeling that Sebastian Vanacek like lived in an apartment building at one point, like going to college or something, that he just could not get rid of these motherfucking spiders? There's just too many Monday to Friday spiders in this Monday to Friday
on this
apartment building.
This monkey fight in the apartment building.
Monkey fight in an apartment building.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like he had a bad experience.
I had a bad experience watching this movie.
And now I had to live it. Yeah.
I feel like we're at the point now where we would just start talking in circles. Like, was there any other like kind of talking points you had with this? I was bummed because from the like, you should go watch the teaser trailer. I think the teaser trailer for this was really good because the teaser trailer has the handful of stuff that works to go off of.
Yeah.
And obviously isn't portraying the shit that doesn't work. So I was bummed out by this. And Ron, I'm sorry, but at least we got some good conversation out of it, I guess.
Look at the poster for this movie. What the fuck is this?
I have no idea.
Like, that's the spider from the end of the goddamn movie, right? Like,
is it a spinoff?
Right.
Yeah. My bad. I didn't know.
Whoops today. Yeah. So that happened. That's about all I got.
So the moral of the story, don't buy spiders
from the back of a convenience store.
From the back of a convenience store.
We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, that's kind of problematic.
I really wanted to do research into France's like importation laws, like their border laws, because like, why is there a convenience store clerk that has this back room where you can buy all these exotic insects?
Well, you get a discount if you buy 6 murder spiders instead of just 1. Did you know?
Oh my god. The spiders in Bloodborne are far more creepy, especially the Shelob spider in Bloodborne, because it is fucking silent.
This movie had such a layup of like a creepy scene that I was shocked it didn't do because it's so like obvious. Why didn't he? Because they take such time to show how much he cares about his other pets. If he bought the spider, left, and when he came back and realized it was gone, if every single one of his other pets was dead. Cocooned,
yeah,
that would be a really creepy moment. And actually has like if I watched all of his pets get like taken out instantly by the fucking murder spider, there's some easy pathos. That's fucked up and creepy.
Yeah,
why wasn't that seen in here? Shit like that is what makes it frustrating. Is like it's right there and it's so obvious that I wish this was better than it was. I am still interested in the future to see what this guy can do later on with like a dedicated writing team writing for him, and then just letting him be the director. I think could be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a slam dunk. They can't all be winners. Other expressions to say this was bad. Yeah,
it's not horrendous. It's just a missed opportunity.
Yeah,
like there are moments in this to like.
Sad.
Yeah, there are moments in this that are genuinely cool, that are creepy, that are really well done and really well presented and well shot. And then it being dragged down by the nonsense is a bummer.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Yeah, I don't know. I can't.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Anything that I keep thinking of is, like you said, just going back to talking in circles.
Yeah, we're beating the dead murder spider.
Yeah.
At this point. I will
dead,
start
Jess.
some
Stop
of our...
eating it.
Him throwing the fucking Molotov cocktail is so good.
I want that as my background. It's so good.
That's like something that would happen
That's
in
you
like,
and me in a horror movie.
That's like something that would happen in like an old school like Joss Whedon movie.
Yeah.
You know, like back in the day. That's like something that would happen in like Cabin in the Woods.
But it would have been portrayed better because it was even though it failed, it was portrayed like an epic moment in the movie. And it would have been played for comedy in a Joss Whedon movie, you know?
Yeah, more like understanding of the what's like the term, like there's like a term I'm trying to think of for this where there's like a Venn diagram of horror movies, right? Where you've got like your creature features, you've got your like elevated horror, like your Hereditaries and like your Nopes and stuff like that, and realizing that like when you make the monster in your horror movie spiders, that comes with like a pretext to it. Well, us thinking like eight-legged freaks it happens to you for a reason, because that like when the monster movie is about like, for instance, like Sinister, right? The way that monster works like allows itself to be opened up for more interpretation as far as like the plot and the characterization and what happens within the fucking movie. When the core concept of your movie is a fucking spider infest your movie is a spider infestation, you need to understand like what you're working with. And this doesn't demonstrate the understanding of the delineation between the two at all to me. And it tries to like hodgepodge them together, and it just doesn't fucking work. I want more eight-legged freaks, less infested.
God, eight-legged freaks is so good.
Like we said earlier, the one that like strikes this chord perfectly is Tremors.
Yes. Tremors
understands what it is, understands the ammo that it's like playing with, and they thread the needle perfectly with what you're expecting from the movie and what the tone of the movie could be. This does not.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. I wanted like Tremors mixed with eight-legged freaks. And I didn't get that. Now I'm sad.
And now I'm sad. Yeah. I haven't seen eight-legged freaks in forever. I want to watch that movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in a long time. Ron, what are we covering next time?
Next time, like I said, there is a movie that is 4 years too late. We should have covered this movie a long time ago, but the reason we didn't is because before we were doing this podcast in real life with no microphones, and I showed this movie to you then. So it was kind of crossed off the list for a moment.
Oh, okay.
But we're not running out of movies for the original premise of the podcast, because new movies are coming out all the time. We're watching different things. You know, originally this is a movie you haven't seen that I have and I think you would like, and then you would do the same thing for me, and that was just how we hung out. But I showed you An American Werewolf in London.
Oh, okay.
A long time ago, and that movie should have been on this podcast as soon as we started doing the podcast, I think. So that is my bad, because I was still focusing on I think Jeff should watch this movie rather than this should be on the podcast.
Exactly.
I really want to talk about American Werewolf in London, because I haven't watched it since I showed it to you, actually, and I've been wanting to watch it again, and I don't get enough werewolf content.
Would this be our first werewolf movie on the podcast?
That cannot be true.
I will scroll through real quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I can't. You keep vamping. I'll scroll.
Do is the way I vamp usually on my channel. Oh my god, we have too much shit on our channel. It may be that.
I think it is.
Can't be right.
I think it is, which is a bummer, because you and I are both big fans of werewolf.
That's my favorite. Like, vampires are cool and all, but give me a werewolf any day.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything,
I'm not
man.
seeing a goddamn thing.
Yeah, we kind of suck at our jobs, man.
Yeah,
I'm
we
not gonna
really
lie.
do. The closest thing, I guess, we had Johnny Depp in Into the Woods. He was the big bad wolf, which I
forgot we
believe
covered that. That was like a friends and family month thing, right?
that was our first Friends and Family, I believe. Go
Yeah, I think
back.
you're right.
Into the Woods was episode number 15. Did that on October 19th, 2020. Oh, no, that's not right. Doesn't say October 2022, but that is YouTube.
Yeah, this is our.
That would
From
have
what
been
I
in
can see,
2020.
From what I can see, this would be our first werewolf thing. So
That would have been 2021 if I had to guess.
yeah, that sounds right. Like maybe it was like springtime of the second year after we had.
We were doing every
been
other week,
going.
and it's like episode 15, so it would have been not quite a year into the podcast.
Yeah, I think we did it like that spring or summer of the next year.
We didn't start out with the YouTube channel. I did a big dump in 2022 of all the episodes up to that point onto YouTube. That's why it has that date.
Yep.
But yeah,
I'm excited to watch that again because I think that was the only time I had seen it was when you introduced me to it. So now I'll get to watch it again and obviously remember like most of the major points. But
yeah,
it's been like 5 years, so I don't remember everything about it. So I remember liking it a lot, though.
It is supernatural horror. It does have some dark comedy elements to it. I don't know that I agree with IMDb about the buddy comedy aspect, but it is John Landis is director and writer, father of Max Landis. And it's a John Landis film.
Yep.
It's very much a John Landis film, but it has some true fucking moments of horror in it and in all the right places.
All about it.
Oh, it's so good.
Excellent choice for the Halloween specials we've got going. Much better choice than Infested. Again, sorry everybody.
No, it's good content. We tend to talk a lot of sugar about movies on this podcast, and like I said, they can't all be winners and other things that mean I didn't like it.
Yeah, I think Bobby will like it because I think Bobby has said some of his favorite shows are like when we're Monday morning, like quarterbacking a thing and seeing like what worked and what didn't and what could be better. Because it doesn't come from like
it's not always fun to say no notes,
A lot of people come from a point of criticism too where it's like they love just shitting on stuff.
Yeah.
You and I will typically like shit on something like this because we're frustrated that it wasn't something that could have been much better, much more like in our wheelhouse as far as like what we think
we want to
could have
like
happened.
Everything. We want everything to be good because otherwise, what is the point? So
yeah,
rather than just saying nope, sucks. Thanks for listening, everybody. Like, I want to find out where it went wrong.
And following this guy in the future to kind of see if because I think with his first movie that he makes with whatever I don't even remember which company it is that's doing Evil Dead right now, but I would like to see something he's directed that is out of his hands as far as like the script, because I think that will go to show a lot as far as how much of this was his fault and then how much of it was they just had a shitty script.
Yeah,
like he co-wrote it, but you don't always know to what extent like what percentage of the script is his. You never know that going in when it's this type of production.
Yeah.
Even the way that they have it listed is interesting. Like, did you happen to see the way the writing credits were listed on IMDb? It's very, very specific and weird. I haven't seen this before, I don't think. But the way that they have it listed, let me pull it up specifically so I can say, okay, with our cast and crew. So they have it split up, and it's original idea, which is Sebastian Vanacek, and then Vanacek and Bernard are both credited for scenario and dialogue. I have never seen that before. Have you seen that listed on IMDb?
No.
Me neither. It's very specific and very bizarre because usually it's just,
screenplay,
original story.
It doesn't have a screenplay.
Yeah, it doesn't have a screenplay. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe they should have had a screenplay.
There's not even a story by.
I probably shouldn't have picked this for Screenplay Rewind, but it didn't have an official screenplay.
What are we fucking rewinding, Jeff? I ask you.
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, man.
I didn't do my homework.
You said that we would be rewinding things. I can't be friends with you anymore.
Man.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
one other scene I want to mention real quick, because there
Okay.
was another scene that was like truly like terrible in the best way. When they are listening to Jordy die horribly. Do you remember that when they're trapped in the other
Yeah.
room and you can hear him screaming through the air vent?
Yeah.
Um,
That was rough.
that was played pretty well, but I didn't need all the goddamn backstory to, feel sorry for a human going through something fucking terrible.
I know, right? It's like they don't understand that like you have baseline empathy for seeing a human go through some fucked up shit. Like that's bizarre.
Yeah. Also, just real quick, the poster that's on IMDb for American Werewolf in London says American Werewolf in London, the monster movie. I've never seen it titled that way. Oh, that's fucking phenomenal.
Did not bury the lead.
I want Screenplay Rewind, the podcast on our thing.
Screenplay Rewind, the cereal box. Screenplay Rewind, the flamethrower. Kids love this one.
Oh man, yeah.
If you would like to follow the show more, we are on Twitter.
I really
at
feel like
SPR
American
Filmcast.
Werewolf in London is like if you and I went backpacking through London, this is what would fucking happen to us.
It would not go well. We'll just say that.
We'll have to talk next time about which one of us is which character. Oh man.
Yeah, it would not fucking go well. Like I said, we are on Twitter at SPR Filmcast, where you can follow us for show updates. Any ratings or reviews on whichever platform you found us on always helps out. Please share out the podcast to your friends. You got any arachnophobes that you know? Like, maybe don't show them the trailer to this movie because they'll probably have a panic attack. But you can have them listen to the podcast, listen to me and Ron bitch for like an hour and a half. So that's always an option. Let's see. Ron, where can people find you on the interwebs?
I am RonSense TV on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Blue Sky.
All right, and I'm trying to think if I missed anything. If you found us on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe. That always helps out the channel grow.
Smash that bell.
Yeah, do that if you
kill the spider inside of it.
You said American Werewolf in London is the next movie. What streaming platforms is it available on? Did you happen to look?
I did. It's rentable on Amazon and Apple TV. It is streaming on Amazon Prime and the ever-present AMC Plus.
God damn, we got fucking AMC Plus in this bullshit again.
As well as BBC America Freevee, which I believe is also Amazon, right?
AMC Plus. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Hey, the Roku channel, your number one place for content.
I think the entirety of AMC Originals now is just various Daryl Dixon spinoffs of The Walking Dead, because that's like all they have now.
I saw they were advertising real hard that Carol's back and whatever fucking thing they have going on, which I didn't even know about the Daryl Dixon thing.
It's like it's so obnoxious too. It's called like Daryl Dixon, the Book of Carol. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. People go watching this shit fucking 10 years ago with your fucking book. I shut that fucking book a long time ago, man. I don't want to watch your fucking show.
I did not know that was a thing at all.
Isn't that obnoxious as a fuck?
It's so obnoxious.
Oh my god.
I'm happy for Norman Reedus.
I love Norman Reedus too. I appreciate that.
I wish he was in a project people were watching.
I appreciate the fact that he realized he was like the favorite character of that show. He made an entire goddamn career out of it. Like, kudos to him, and I'm happy for him that he basically can just live off of Daryl Dixon like autographs now for the rest of his life, and that's awesome, you know. But that show, holy fuck, who is still watching? Who is still subscribing to AMC Plus to watch
the book of to AMC Plus?
That's the only way to get the Book of Carol, bro.
Oh,
I gotta do it. I gotta watch the Book of Carol.
If I'm not watching the Book of Boba Fett, I'm not watching the Book of Carol.
Why was the Book of Boba Fett called the Book of Boba Fett?
I don't know.
That's just so stupid.
Did the Vatican remove it from the Bible?
Why wasn't it called like... Also, it was like barely even about Boba Fett. It could have just been called like Tales of Tatooine, and it sounds cooler and makes more sense than the fucking Book of Boba Fett. Fuck you. So stupid.
I don't get it.
Oh man.
Anyways,
I don't get it. I don't get it, man. That's to sum up the last 94 minutes of podcasts. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
That's our scale. Good movie, good go watch, and I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
The book of I don't get it. That's the last ending of the scale. Fuck, dude. All right, yeah, I am excited to watch Good Movie Good. So I will say that with American Werewolf in London because it's a good fucking movie.
Yeah, 4 years too late.
It's okay. We got around to it eventually.
It is true.
We did.
I was like, is that our sign off?
I was taking a drink,
and then I stopped talking.
And then you stopped talking at the worst possible time, and that's what led to that. You're welcome.
I was literally about to say, is that our new sign off?
The Book of Inside Baseball. Have a good night, everybody. I hope everyone is having an awesome October, and I hope you're spending it watching better horror movies than what I did for the lead up to this.
Man.
Have a good night, everybody.
Been holding that in for a while. Ugh.
What's the name of this fucking movie?
I don't know.
Infested.
Yeah, that's the one.